Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Cooking with Grief, the comedy podcast that features neither cooking nor grief. Every episode we scour the internet for things that catch our eye, interesting tidbits to titillate and tantalise your ears. I'm Chris, and as ever, I'm joined by my willing co-host, a man who is to podcasts what Elvis Presley is to podcasts, as in he's never done one before. Someone of whom Queen Victoria said, "What a head, we could use her in the war," although she may have been talking about Florence Nightingale. Someone who, when you Google his name, the top result is for the Gibsons and District Volunteer Fire Department. It's my friend, not yours, Chris.
Hi there. I'm not sure how I'm going to live up to that intro, but I'll try.
You're not. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm alright. It's exciting, isn't it? First episode of the podcast, what will definitely become a massive, sprawling media empire.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're going to be like PewDiePie and Logan Paul, but not massive dickheads.
Well, we could be massive dickheads, but without all the fame and success, if that's any consolation.
Yeah, that's probably more likely.
But, maybe one day we'll look back and this will just be the first step to eventually becoming joint popes.
Yeah, when neither of us are Catholic, and it would be unprecedented to have two popes. But no, I can definitely see this as a springboard for that sort of success.
I do shit in the woods, though, if that's any, qualifying. Oh, no, that's bears. Oh.
To be honest, though, actually, I quite like that because, this podcast, we're learning about each other. I never knew you shit in the woods, and now that image is seared into my brain forever. So, thank you.
And I never knew you weren't Catholic, so we're all learning something. So here's how the podcast works. Every episode we bring two topics each to talk about a sort of internet show and tell, online mineshaft to dig out the juiciest audio gems. So like a Belgian on a diet, I'm going to stop waffling now. Chris, what's your first topic?
Okay, so Chris, my first topic comes from the Republic of China, where... No, not the Republic of China, actually. See, here's a fact for you. That's actually Taiwan. That wasn't my story. I just like to drop knowledge bombs. The People's Republic of China, where a Beijing sperm bank is seeking a donor that must tick the following box: that they love the socialist motherland and embrace the leadership of the Communist Party. Which is pretty heavy stuff before you ask somebody to have a wank.
I mean, that's foreplay to me. That is just, it's, have you been tested? Have you got protection? Do you love the socialist motherland?
Exactly. I mean, they don't need any the nudie magazines in the waiting room. I only know what sperm banks are like through like an episode of Friends, so this may not be strictly true. But yeah, that's getting me hot already. You also had to have no sign of hair loss, colour blindness, or weight problems.
Oh, damn, I was so close.
And all this for you get paid £23 if you meet the criteria. And then an extra...
ejaculate?
Per donation.
Right.
Yeah, and then £620 afterwards. I don't know if you can only donate once. But yeah...
I mean, I
quite like that idea of having to love something so much that you... it gets you off.
Yeah,
that's patriotism.
Yeah, that is, that's as patriotic as you get. When you're willing to bleed for the country, you're willing to spill your seed for the country.
Exactly, sweat, blood, and other bodily fluids.
Yeah, do they want? I don't know what other bodily fluids are. They're the main two, I think. Blood, sweat, tears, I guess.
Tears, yeah. Well, I mean, you've been to China.
Yeah, I lived there. Lived there for a while, and I did not know. I just did. Everyone goes into teaching. No one told me that if I just loved the socialist motherland, I could have been making sweet wank money. I was giving it away for free.
You know those Well, I was thinking of those really good posters where they have Chairman Mao or the ones of like the soldier, the farmer, and the factory worker all stood together. Just them, but having a really good time together. Incidentally, I like how we've started strong and made sure that this podcast will never ever be able to air in the largest internet market in the entire world. So we're starting strong.
Cooking with Grief does sound like a bad Chinese translation of what was originally a good title. Like, we could have been, Chris and Chris's comedy hour, but it just, because of the characters, it just translates as Cooking with Grief, in which case, hello.
You had some, I remember when you came back from China, you had those there were some really good mistranslations you found. The only one I can remember now, though, was the one on the Great Wall that said "Danger, no striding."
Yeah. That was good. I've got a folder of them somewhere. I'm trying to remember. There's sort of basic ones. Like just bad translations, like "visit to go this way, please," and stuff like that. Like just understandable translation errors. And then there was stuff. Like particularly on menus. You'd get braised anus or whatever, just and it,
I do know that was a mistranslation. That could have just been
that's true actually.
That could have been a delicacy.
Yes. If you're a man who knows his braised anus from his rump steak, then you're a man I want to know. You're a man I want to get all patriotic with and make £26. I mean, it's funny about the those sort of motivational posters. Like I feel like the sort of the British equivalent of like do your bit, and there's like the dude pointing forwards that I should probably know the name of. When it's it's like
Lord Kitchener.
That's the fella, the dude with the tash.
You can have that one for free.
Thanks. Like what would be the British repressed version of that? It's like save on butter, milk your dick.
Penis.
I'm not in marketing, but
I was gonna say, just as I'm somewhat man of science, I should clarify that semen is not a suitable substitute for butter in most contexts.
What about for a sexy bagel? Valentine's Day breakfast.
Just going back to those poster things, I was in Vietnam recently, and you know how everywhere has all these like communist countries, they have the big pictures of the dictator.
Mm-hmm.
So to say, Ho Chi Minh looks very kindly in all his giant head photos. If you're gonna have a looming picture of a former dictator like on every street corner, you do want somebody with like kindly old man eyes and stuff like that. So just want to give a shout out there to the People's Republic of Vietnam, if that's what it's called. I think it might just be Republic of.
If it is, I'm sure they'll be very glad of the shout out. And to dictators all around the world, if you're listening, maybe go for a softer, public image.
On a related note, we are looking for sponsorship. So any dictators out there who want some help with the tourism board, give us a call.
I thought you were going to say if you're looking for, if you're a local sperm bank that needs more.
Then also give us a call.
I've generally got a fact that combines both semen and China, is that we are the world's biggest exporters of pig semen. And the Chinese buy it in a bucket load. Do you fill a bucket with it?
Yeah, by the gallon, I assume.
Yeah, not by the pint. I don't know, but yeah, pig's trotters and pig sperm are what we sell most of the Chinese. Well, I don't know about most, but and you got to wonder.
Well,
you got to wonder: are they from the same pig? Are they relieved of both their fluids and then the trotters come off, or are some pigs? Because that's a nasty come down, so to speak.
Yeah, no, that would not be a way to finish a night.
Did you pull last night?
I feel...
Yeah, got a hand job. That was great. He did cut me feet off.
Well, at least we know now what our post-Brexit trade strategy is going to be. Gallons and gallons of pig semen.
We should just write that on the cliffs of Dover.
That's going to be one of the main campaign pledges.
In
fact, that's perfect for David Cameron. He's like, I already know how to get a pig off.
He's the poster boy for wanking off pigs.
Your pigs need you. So yeah, that's my story. Starting on a highbrow start. Over to you. Let's see if you can top that.
I definitely can't. Okay. Chris, if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
World's tallest midget.
I don't know if you can use that word anymore. I think it's little person, but then that would disqualify you for the 3 words. But your answer is disappointing because I was really banking on you saying, I like ants.
That's a long shot.
Okay, but I'm going to talk about ants.
Oh.
Ants, right, are essentially the superheroes of the insect world. Even Marvel's, the Marvel film didn't go far enough in giving him the powers of an ant, because he should have been called, like, sometimes as small as an ant man, but...
Sometimes smaller as well.
Sometimes smaller. It's not a very catchy... It's not catchy at all, really.
Again, we're not good at marketing.
Real ants, not superhero ones, are really cool, which which is a sentence that definitely makes me sound like a substitute teacher trying to sound young to win over an indifferent class. Like, hey kids, let's talk about ants. You know, they're so...
Talk about
what
ants.
What do kids say these days? Ants are bae. They're on fleek. Is that a thing? Oh God, I'm old. Anyway, right.
You are so old.
I am, as are you. Researchers in Poland have found an ant colony inside a disused Cold War era bunker that once housed nuclear weapons, right? And after the bunker was abandoned, a wood ant colony took up residence without, even paying a deposit.
I think I've seen this film. Is it a 1950s B movie? Are the ants giant?
No, ants, not bees.
Oh, okay, there we go.
So they built this colony over a vertical ventilation pipe, and then when the pipe rusted over, thousands of ants fell into the bunker itself, and then they made another colony inside this nuclear weapons bunker, right? So Polish researcher Wojciech Czachowski, yes, that Wojciech Czachowski, the one you all know and love, his team found a 1 million-strong colony surviving in the bunker despite the barren conditions, right? There were no queen ants, which you normally need, no males and no offspring. Now, the only ants that were, tending to the nest were non-reproductive female workers, and the new ants that came in the colony were only those that fell down the pipe. The researchers found that the only source of food could have been dead ants, and these ants... I've said the word ants too many times now, but the colony inside...
It's lost all meaning.
Yeah.
Call them decks.
Okay, the deck colony had formed a purely cannibalistic society where the living ants would feed on the poor suckers that didn't make it, and that's a technical term, right? But not only that, they made the nest itself out of corpses. So they found...
It's pretty brutal.
It's pretty cool though, isn't it? Though, so they found this...
It's cool in the same way a heavy metal album cover is cool.
Yeah, a band called, I don't know, The Thrashing.
Adam and the Ants. Oh.
Yeah, that works better. I was thinking more like a Norwegian, black metal band. But yeah, Adam and the Ants works better.
Or Alien Ant Farm.
You got any more?
Yeah, I'll stop.
Okay.
I think that's it.
So they found this nest made out of 2 million dead ant corpses, which sounds pretty grim, but again, you bung a mound of dead ants in central-ish London within walking distance of an Ofsted-recommended primary school, and you're looking at a sweet £750,000. More if you add in a bathroom. I just thought it was cool that, these ants could survive, that adapt this cannibalistic society. Because it's sort of like a
horror movie for ants.
Yeah, I guess. It's like a dystopian nightmare, you sort of live in darkness, and then there's...
It's like Soylent Green, but for ants. And apologies to anybody who hasn't seen that film, but it is 40 years old, so, you've had your chance.
Have they remade it with ants?
Well, if there's any Hollywood producers listening to this, please don't steal our idea, because it's going to make us billions. Let's get James Cameron on the line.
Yeah. Well, here's my pitch for the ant film, right? Has the Hunger Games series finished? I didn't see any of them, but I've been told they're quite good. Because this could be...
I think so. I have only seen the first 2, but I'm pretty sure it's finished.
Okay, but imagine Jennifer Lawrence's newest role, a cannibal ant feasting off the corpses of what's flushed down from the heaven nest. And, obviously you've got to add in a love interest, so maybe sort of her and her audience-approved male ant, like a Hemsworth.
Chris Pratt. A Hemsworth, yeah.
One of the Chris's.
Definitely a Chris.
Yeah, so...
Oh, hey! Again, Hollywood producer listening to this.
It writes itself, which is a bad sign. So they, defy, all the odds to make it out and find freedom and maybe live to warn the others about the cannibal ants. Yeah, but anyway, my point is this: ants are cool, and if they're any bigger or even slightly more ambitious about world domination, then we might have no choice but to submit to our ant dominatrix overlords. And I would welcome that.
I'm sure you would.
So that's my first topic. What have you got for your second one?
Right, well, my second one actually does tie in with the name ever so slightly. This comes from Amsterdam, or travelling the world today, where a man has invented a suicide machine. So we're basically living in Futurama now. It's called Sarco, which is short for sarcophagus, and it's a pod that fills with nitrogen, which apparently kills you pretty fast. And he wants to be able to 3D print it so that anybody can just download the plans and kill themselves at their leisure.
Right, I can see no downsides.
No, exactly. The weird thing is, it was apparently at a funeral fair in Amsterdam, which...
Because that's
yeah, I mean, Amsterdam's a strange place, but I never realised they had funeral fairs. Although, actually, I just realised if there wasn't a sign somewhere saying, let's put the fun into funeral, then they have definitely missed out. Yeah, so... Oh, and as well, so at this fun fair, funeral fair, whatever you want to call it, you could have a go in the nitrogen death machine through the
just once.
Yeah, through the magic of virtual reality. Yeah, like you say, for people who really want to have an existential crisis for a day, you you go and feel like what it'd be like to kill yourself, and then you go about the rest of your day. So that's pretty heavy for a fun fair.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being, I don't know, just like a regular dude in the sort of Middle Ages, and you just, tend to your land, maybe you got a few animals, a family. Life is simple, but hard. And then you just, you just flash forward, and you can simulate suicide on a VR machine, and you think, yes, I was born at the right time.
Yeah, but in modern life, you're far less likely to be killed by like a crusading knight. So, we've got that going for us.
Speak for yourself.
And less plague, another bonus.
Yeah, okay, you put me around. And availability of sushi is a big plus for me.
Yeah, I mean, imagine having to eat turnips every day. Like... You'd be crying out for the nitrogen death machine. Yeah, which actually sounds like a metal band.
Again, we're just coming up with metal bands today. But that's a good slogan for the tired of eating turnips, try the suicide machine. Because I think this is an idea that keeps... It comes into the news every once in a while, because there was a guy that designed that roller coaster that goes so fast you black out, and it's like a suicide roller coaster, isn't it? Have you seen that?
I have heard of that, yeah. It sounds like somebody played Roller Coaster Tycoon far too much and was like,
yeah,
let's make this in real life.
Whereas this nitrogen thing's more like The Sims, where you lead your Sims into a little one square room and then take out all the doors and then just watch them panic and wet themselves.
The Sims really was just a cruelty simulator. It's like you can live a life through the medium of these little Sims, and everyone's like, oh, you could torture them. But also use the money cheat to build them a big house first.
Oh yeah, a very well furnished death box. So the idea being it's for euthanasia.
Yeah, although
How long till someone films a porn in it?
Well, let's be honest, there's probably already a script floating around there for that now. It was on the internet, which means somebody's thought about banging in it.
It's in Amsterdam. They can just, move it over.
Exactly. We are going on quite the world tour today. Poland, Amsterdam, China, wherever next.
Let's find out.
So, yeah, that's me exhausting my stories of grief. Hopefully you've got one about cooking that can really wrap this up, or we're going to have to think of a new name.
It's not about cooking, and nor is it about grief. But let me ask you this. If you had to describe what you're all about in just 4 words, what would they be?
You really like putting me on the spot with these questions today. I just want to say something about midgets again. I don't know why. Pass.
That is a shame. I was really hoping you'd say equality for Icelandic women.
Again, that's a long shot, let's be honest.
Because this is the story I want to talk about. On October 24th, 1975, 90% of the female population of Iceland went on strike for just one day, and Iceland fell apart. More importantly, Icelandic men fell apart.
Literally or figuratively?
Both. They shattered like
the T-1000 at the end of Terminator 2.
Great reference for someone out there. Not for me.
I forget you're into high culture.
Yeah, high culture like ants and pig semen. But not massively popular films that are part of a broader, sort of film education. Anyway, right, so women went on strike to protest being paid less than 60% of what the male counterparts earned. They called it a day off event, and 90% of the female population took part, right? So they didn't go to the paid job.
So do you mean they went on strike from their jobs?
They were,
on strike from
everything's
being women.
So they were still women. They still identified as women, but they didn't go to like paid jobs. They didn't do any housework. They didn't look after children. And in just one day, the country pretty much collapsed. So there was like no telephone service, no newspapers, schools and airports had to close, banks struggled to stay open, like factories and shops were shut. Men, many of whom had never been active in looking after the children before, took the kids to work with them, and they, cooked and cleaned for the first time. But was it because, if they're not used to cooking, then they went out and bought bread and sausages, and that's it. So the country ran out of bread and sausages, but sort of nothing else. So meanwhile, during the strike, so the women gathered in the capital for a rally, and they sort of did speeches and put plans in place to achieve gender equality in Iceland. And the following year, Icelandic Parliament passed a law guaranteeing equal rights, and then they had
So it worked.
Yes, well, sort of. It's 5 years later they had the first elected female president, and obviously it doesn't change overnight, but in terms of the strike taking effect, like a lot of Icelandic men apparently described it as sort of an eye-opening moment, because the sort of the invisible labour of all the women hadn't been appreciated. But
with everything happening now at the moment with the gender pay gap reports that have been coming out recently about the different companies, I mean, maybe they should try going on strike.
Yeah, I think definitely, because what interested me about the story is just how quickly things fell apart. Is that
and they're Vikings. They know how to live rough.
They're hardy people, But I think particularly in this country, you've got like I don't know, you got men of a certain generation who I don't know that all their adult lives they've sort of been so I don't know what's the word, like coddled by women that they sort of can't fend for themselves. Like you do see like older men, maybe the wives have passed away or whatever, and they're learning like how to do washing at the age of like 65, 70 or whatever, or they go shopping for the first time and have to learn to cook from scratch. And I'm not saying like equality, we've reached, like our generation has reached equality. I definitely think it's a lot better than perhaps older generations, because we're not all married at 20, and there isn't that expectation that a man works and a woman dutifully greets her husband at the door with a kiss on the cheek and a cocktail in her hand. But I just thought what was interesting is that it fell apart that quickly, that these men just went
like one day was enough.
One day,
like,
and
crap.
like men taking their kids to like work with them because the schools have closed because most of the teachers were women, and you just giving them just a half cooked sausage, going, shut up, eat it. The phone's ringing off the hook, and I've got I just think it just amusement, and I guess it's proof that strikes can have that immediate an effect. But the main point is women should team up with ants and they'd be unstoppable.
I was gonna say, it sort of reminds me of that Greek play, which I have no idea what it's called. I've never actually read it. I've only just heard about it on the internet, so I can only assume it's true, where the women of a particular town all go on strike from having sex, and the society falls apart because the men don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, is it Euripides the women? I think maybe off the top of my head.
That it sounds right. Oh, do I hear a joke?
I think.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Euripides.
Euripides who?
Euripides trousers. Then you better pay for them.
I'm leaving in the 5-second silence after that punchline.
I have horrible histories to thank for that joke. So that joke stuck in my brain for the last 15 odd years. So it's a good one.
But what I like is that you couldn't say what Euripides wrote when he lived. All the jokes on like horrible histories or whatever is meant to be a gateway to learn stuff.
Yeah, I did. Bad jokes.
Yeah, fair enough. And I suppose that's you've got to have a good catalogue of bad dad jokes if you ever become a parent. And
exactly. I assume that's like the main benefit of becoming a parent.
They don't let you leave the hospital.
To tell dad jokes.
Yeah, they don't let you leave the hospital until you can crack a joke that makes everyone groan. Just
also that one day you can be prepared for Christmas dinner when after years of championing women equality, you look across at your son-in-law and say, "Oi, are you a leg or breast man?" as you carve the turkey. And that's when you know the cycle's complete.
Why did you turn to Bernard Manning? Hey, son-in-law, I've got one for you. What do you want, a leg or a tit?
It's so funny you died.
I don't know how he does that voice all the time. I hope it's a character act. But my delicate little snowflake lungs can't deal with it. So that's it. First episode done with. That's we've covered all the topics of the world from semen to Icelandic women and everything in between, sort of.
That's probably not the best way to sum up the first episode as semen and Icelandic women, because that will get us put on the wrong type of lists.
Or some very particular but excitable fans.
Especially if they like ants.
Yeah, they want ants chucked in there with a suicide machine to turn it all off, so to speak. Then
this is the show for you. Thank you for listening.
And if you like none of those things, we can only apologise, but there will be different things on the next episode, because we will just find more internet gold and mine it into sweet
jewelry.
Gemstones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, jewelry, that works.
Yeah.
So
good metaphor.
Was it a metaphor?
I don't know.
So hopefully, if you enjoyed this, then you'll listen to the next episode whenever that is. I've been Chris.
And I've been a different Chris.
And this has been the first episode of Cooking with Grief.
And scene. Oh.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cooking with Grief. If you enjoyed it, make sure to recommend it to a friend. And if you hated it, then please recommend it to your worst enemy. If you'd like to get in touch, you can email us cookingwithgrief@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter. That's @cookingwithgrief, with no G on cooking, because we're cool. It'd be great if you subscribe to our channel, that way you'll never miss a new episode. And we'd love to get your feedback, so please leave a comment below telling us all about the things we got wrong. Thank you, Internet. We welcome your indifference and or vitriol.